Good afternoon and welcome to the Naenae Bowling Club, where we're about to have the final of the National Interclub Bowls3Five finals here. We started off on Friday with 32 teams lining up in section play, and now down to the final. And the final will be contested between the Elmwood Park Saints of Christchurch, the side of Mandy Boyd, Kelvin Scott and Lance Pascoe, up against the Takaro Tui of Palmerston North, or Manawatu, of Steve Toms, Sharon Sims and Mark Noble. In the semi-final, we saw the Elmwood Park side defeat the Stokes Valley Vipers, and we saw the Takaro Tui defeat the Gore Rams. The first end just underway. I've got John Macbeth here with me, and we'll be bringing you all the live action of the final as the end 1 of 5 of the first set is just got underway.
And as if the quarterfinals and semi-finals weren't stressful enough for these players who, in some cases, had to go into extra ends, they now stand up with a shortish break, just a lunch break, enough time to change the stickers on their bowls and have a cup of tea or a drink and something to eat, and then they're into the final. So we'll again expect some high-quality bowls here. These two teams that we've seen have faced real big pressure in the semi-finals in particular. Mind you, as we saw with Tui, they had to have huge pressure in the quarterfinal as well, so it's been a hard road for them.
It certainly has been, John, and they were, very astutely in that semi-final, as you know, used their power play in the fifth end of the first set, which gave them that break of the first set, and of course the game with the Elmwood Park and Stokes Valley side, literally a game of singles that could have gone either way. But looking at this first end of the final, great start by the Elmwood Park lead, Mandy Boyd, who's drawn literally right on top of the jack, and we certainly saw from that Elmwood Park side in that semi-final and the Stokes Valley Vipers, their drawing was pretty exceptional. Some of the shot play was first class, wasn't it, John?
Without doubt. And they're all experienced, they're all national representatives or national title holders that we've seen. I think we've got in this match here Steve Toms, who probably is the least decorated of them all, and yet an experienced player in his own right through the Manawatu Centre. The advantage here is that both these teams have recently played on this rink.
Well, they've both been on it in the last 2 hours, haven't they?
So they understand it. I think that we'll see fewer of those wide bowls that we saw in some of the earlier games.
Yeah, I think they'll have realised where those lines now, there's that change where they, to get that consistency, that's for sure. And the Elmwood Park side have opened up pretty good on this first end. Of course, very early days, and Sharon Sims with her second bowl trying to make amends to get up to the counting bowls of the Elmwood Park Saints, not to be. And at this stage, let's get the indication it is 2. Steve Sargent indicating that the first end, the Elmwood Park Saints are holding 2 shots. And of course, we play set play here. 5 ends in each set. And remembering, of course, talk to your friends wherever. Go onto the Bowls New Zealand website and you can watch, get a link from there, or www.stuff.co.nz, or on Sky Sports Next, all the live action. And John and my commentary will be there throughout this final. Look at this from Kelvin Scott.
Pretty impressive.
Well, there's literally 7 bowls here in the circle, John.
Yes.
Isn't there?
Yeah.
No, there's only the 1 bowl out of the circle. The 7 bowls are literally all sitting in inside the circle.
So Elmwood Park playing with the white discs. They're holding the shot, and then they've got those 2 that are just over the jack. Well, how long can his form hold, Mark Noble.
He was a Lazarus in that quarter-final match, wasn't he? Three bowls, last bowl each time, end 3, end 5, and of course the tie-break end where he played those, outstanding bowls, weren't they? And as you and I both know, John, of course, New Zealand para player, blackjack, and we know that Mark Noble has got a great variety of shot play that he can exploit.
If you haven't seen Noble play here, you'll notice that his bowls he takes a much wider, much more green, and yet they still come in almost this time to the centre line, but you can see how much wider he is to what we'll see from Pascoe now.
He's certainly a lot wider arc on that backhand draw, isn't he? They finished
See this
jack
here,
level.
great indication of it. Sorry, Kevin, that Mark was way up beyond that.
Certainly was.
Oh, that's...
You're in was I heard through the mic, and it's 4 shots.
Gee, you don't want to drop a 4 first up.
I wonder whether Mark Noble was looking at trying to play with a lot of weight, ploughing through those 2 blue bowls of Sharon Sims to get some reduction.
Yeah,
Try and draw. Well, my view, I want to try and draw a second shot.
Yeah.
That would be minimise the damage because you could hit those 2 blue bowls and finish up not doing anything. Actually, they could just split and disappear off the head.
And his draw play has been outstanding. So
He certainly has.
there's a big wide there for him to get into. So looking to save here, Mark Noble. 4 down on the head on this first end.
And going for that second shot option, you see he's tightened that line. By goodness, he's on a good line here, John. How far is it going to come back? Is it going to get back to the
Needs to
jack?
sit.
No, he won't. Needs to sit.
Ooh, yeah. He might have cut 1 out, but I think that's a 3 anyway. It is 3. And Pascoe still 1 to play.
Oh,
Oh, no. I think he might have said 4.
Kelvin Scott.
Kelvin Scott says 4.
says he's got 4. Yeah, Steve Sargent looking back up at us, Steve. Yeah. He said it was 4, so we'll see whether encouragement there from Mandy Boyd, of course the wife of Lance Pascoe. And Kelvin Scott, who's certainly been encouragement right throughout this. Oh, he's well down again here, John.
We're up, Pascoe. Sit it and down. Hard luck.
Ooh,
Yep.
So Sharon reaches down and takes out 2. And she'll be back with both those hands again, maybe.
Definitely. There's
3.
3. And that.
So we'll see. Kelvin Scott thought it was 4 earlier.
Not quite so confident now, but we'll see in about a moment when he puts the measure around onto that Sharon Sims bowl.
Four.
4 it is.
So he read it well. So the Saints, what a grand start for them.
Certainly is. That first in of this final of the Bowls New Zealand 3-5 finals, and a 4 on the opening end. Great start for the Cantabrians.
Great start, Mandy. Brilliant.
Back toucher right on top of that jack, and
Well, at least Steve Tom's reinforced here. You can't be short, mate. You've dislodged that if you can, or at least be over.
well, as we've seen, John, like right throughout,
Yeah, mate.
that first bowl effectiveness can just make such a big difference to what happens after that, doesn't it? How you can set the head up, minimise risk and all sorts of things. And well, 6 very, very accomplished players playing out there in this final. And Mandy Boyd again, look at this, down to the centre line, down to the... Don't get much better than that.
Pathetic, isn't it, really? I dreamed of doing that once.
2 touches. You know, that's...
What a week, basically, now that you've chucked it.
Kelvin Scott.
Far away here.
Oh, this is all right.
There's a good bowl here. There's a good bowl here from Tom. Stephen Thompson is going to fall in or out. In it falls.
Bowls. That's great lead stuff, isn't it?
Certainly is. Not going to be any, one would think, John, not the likelihood of any big numbers now in this end, is there?
No.
Still got 2's the call from Pascoe.
Yeah.
So you might have heard Lance Pascoe indicating to Kelvin Scott, get him behind the head down towards the spot, down towards the 2 metre mark. And that's what Kelvin Scott is endeavouring to do.
It's practically on the 2 metre mark.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
I think if we play that hand, we're still 2 down, because if you land it on the jack, it just pops through for 2. But on this hand, you land the black, jack pops forward for 1. So you're down there towards that split area.
Yep.
There we go. That's pretty clear, that call, John, isn't it?
You don't often see the jack come forward, but it happens, and he's quite right, because if she... Well, we'll see what happens. But
well, just
that's
squeeze on those balls, isn't it?
And,
literally.
And the jack just bounces back off one of those shot balls.
So here's Sharon Sims, of course, world-class player. By goodness, this is in the target area. Is it going to go by? Just go by. Is that
bonus land the back one.
In the ditch. Yep.
Well, holding 2 shots, scoring 4 on the first end. You're not going to go near it any more than what it's sitting now, John.
And the call from Lance Pascoe was, if they hit that jack, it's going to come sideways to here. So I put one there, so it's covering it.
Who said it? Well,
you get the split.
It fattens that target up, doesn't it, now?
So through that split, whatever weight.
Yep.
So that's that 3-bowl target now, isn't it? That Sharon Sims can play with confident weight through the bowls.
Bit wide again. Yep.
It is. So I'll see that, because it was indicated it was still 2.
Sorry.
John, your day's playing bowls.
Well, that's
Kelvin's got to apologise.
Yeah. I think that was an apology.
A number of players would be quite happy to be able to get that close, wouldn't they?
Yeah, but see, he wanted to put it about where his feet are now.
Absolutely. He wanted to be in between that area, didn't he, really?
As Lance had said, if the jack goes, it's going to squirt sideways. But where that white one is now, the jack probably won't.
It may not move right out there, correct.
I'd cover this side with you first. Draw inside that. Just inside it, mate. Yep.
He said, Kelvin Scott, his instructions are fantastic on the header. Very clear, very precise, just confidence.
A whole lot of skips out there watching this. Like I've had a message from Simon Poppleton, you know.
Oh,
Poppy. Yeah, he's watching with interest, and he'd be looking at that and saying, "Oh, I don't know why he's doing that. What I'd be doing is this," you know. So every skip's got a different idea, but in general, you'd be saying, "That's a pretty good cover there. We're holding 2. It's up to Mark Noble to change the situation."
I think he'll go quicker than what Sharon Sims elected to play. I think Noble might.
I think he's either a draw or drive. That's his strengths, isn't it?
Absolutely, it is. Absolutely.
Yep, here we go.
Well, no one's got any back bowls.
No.
Really. Oh, there's a bowl of Kelvin Scott's.
On the 2 metre.
Yeah, on the 2
Anywhere over
metre
the
mark.
top, they haven't got anything over the top.
Yeah, he took them both out. He had 2 back bowls there. So now he parks another one in around the 2 metre, and suddenly what does... No use killing it, no use, you know,
The black over once for
2
one
down,
up,
so...
So you might have heard Mark Noble then sitting in to sit the black to cut to 1. That's and you also would have heard Kelvin Scott saying there's no sense in him driving because where it would have gone to should he make connection.
Two it is.
So a 6-0 after 2 ends of 5. Very handy break for the Elmwood Park Saints. And Steve Thomas played a very, very good bowl as well on that end. But the 2 bowls of Mandy Boyd's, the very first 2 bowls she played,
Yep.
just stayed there, didn't they? And
Yep. Stayed there all the way through. Another pathetic ball from Mandy Boyd. That's good.
Just that consistent. Well, look, she's, well, my view still, she's up there with the of the recent international players of the Joe Ebers, Val Smiths, etc. Mandy Boyd not available now. Certainly up there with some of the best going round for sure, John.
Yep.
And has proven that with a number of New Zealand titles. Of course, she's won overall disciplines.
It's a good effort there from Toms. He wasn't far off moving the jack.
It was a grand effort, you know.
Mandy Boyd just covering it out there. So if the jack does go, who gets it? It's got 2 shots anyway. Not much of an adjustment required by Toms.
As you say, wasn't far away with his first bowl. He's brought that, how far has he brought that line in? It's going to hold.
It's pretty good, isn't it? But
yeah, you're going to sit on what is the shot bowl.
Sharon Sims concentrating on her bowl, on what shot she's going to play, not bothering to watch the previous bowl. She won't even be looking at it. She's just stepping up ready to play her shot.
Sharon, with all her international experience, that bowl's on the hand is actually in quite a narky position, John, isn't it?
Just down here, get another second. Can score on this hand.
So not the shot she would have intended to play when she was
no, not
thinking about it.
The Kelvin Scott bowl sort of changed their shot options on the draw there. Now you might have heard Mark Noble say, "Give us another second on the head, and then we'll look at things from there."
Chance says, land some pink and create something. Hang in.
No. Well, we saw in the previous game there was an area there where if you hit it at the right pace, you'll get a straightener and it just deviates your line a little bit.
We saw two consecutive bowls from Seamus Curtin do exactly that going down that way, John, and they sort of shimmied their way. Didn't look as though they were going to get to the target area, but then just straightened up, shimmied their way down towards the jack. And
beat that into there.
Yeah, so what we've got now, I think, is Noble working out his shots.
absolutely, absolutely.
Saying, pack them up round here. Forces the hand of the opposition to. So at the moment, they've got 2 bowls a metre or so over.
Well, the other thing as well, John, playing the third end, and you are 6 behind.
Drop hard now,
You want to score on this end. This is a great effort here. Great effort here from Sharon Sims. And now it does give Mark Noble those 2 balls on the head that he can possibly do something to try and dislodge that shot bowl of Mandy Boyd's.
Cover the back with your first. Yep. You think if he's going to chip it, he probably land on that, but
We've talked often about
it's going to get to the
considering what your opponent might do with their next shot. So, and that's what they're doing right now. They're in
Absolutely.
a good position to win this set.
Tell me, Joy, in your days of playing, do you have the luxury of being the skipper, just being told, just get to the bat, play to the back? We've got to.
Oh, not often. Just see if you can draw the shot. Cut it down, would you? So that's probably
Good luck. Yep.
2 metre covered, is it? Oh, no, maybe not.
It'd be the closest bowl to the spot.
Yeah.
That's
What we've got, of course, consider with Noble is that he, while that white bowl of Kelvin Scott's was in the line for Sharon Sims, it might not be for
correct.
Noble.
Correct. With their
He
different,
might play the forehand a little bit.
with their different
Easier.
arc that he has with his bowl. Correct.
with those bowls, he's got to go quick, doesn't he?
Well, you heard Kelvin Scott saying just then that really, if he's elects to play with weight, he's really got to go quick to.
Yep. Just a bit of weight on here. So
Needs to be inside that line there. Got the Kelvin Scott bowl.
Well, that's out of the road now, and that was a good line he was on. So we'll see what he does with his next.
Yeah, there. Yep.
Another one over the back.
Yeah, just coming down towards matching the first bowl, in fact.
Just try and sit it on the swoop for 4, eh?
Sit it on the swoop for 4.
Yeah, similar shot. Yeah.
Well, if they were to get a 4 here, they might just play their power play.
Yeah, well, this is interesting. Just
I don't know what his bowls do.
No, it's not.
no, that's gonna.
Good shot, Mandy.
One down. There's Sharon Sims. So another single for the Saints. They lead after 3 ends by 7-0.
Because earlier we saw the Elmwood Park Saints defeat the Stokes Valley Vipers in a very, very close encountered semi-final, and the Takaro Tui defeat the Gore Rams in the other semi-final.
Some pretty good teams have been knocked out along the way.
Well, it certainly has been. It certainly has.
Front of me.
Interesting, John, that both the leads now must feel the confidence now on that backhand going up towards the clubhouse of where that line actually is, because they're sitting over the head in this particular case, but they're not getting out on that wider area whereby you struggle to get back. They are playing inside that line where they are getting that draw in towards the centre line. And to see that Mandy Boyd tighten that line up quite considerably and drop the weight as well.
It did look to be quite a lot finer, narrower, but
It certainly
still
was.
sat on the centre line. Tom's had a bit of difficulty in his previous game on this rink, just going too wide. He seems to have corrected that quite well this time around. He's drawn the shot here.
And there's the shot, as you see, just sitting outside the circle. That bowl of Steve Toms from the Takaro Tuis.
Not there either.
Kelvin's got very quickly to tell you through that I'm not there. He knew very quickly that he didn't have the weight.
This is nice and open here for someone like Sharon Sims. It just, they're holding shot. There's nothing in her way.
Well, Sims going to the more preferred forehand. And as John rightly said, there is plenty of room. There's a good meter. And still is a good meter.
Well, second shot, though.
Yeah,
But
it's
it's a long way off.
Kelvin Scott having to improve that weight on his first one to get past his first and then draw back in. But as you and I have said right throughout these matches, John, just get out there to try and get that extra wee bit, just to try and get it to come back to the centre line is a real challenge, isn't it?
His green hasn't changed, has it?
No.
His 2 balls are on the line. Now, Sims needs to add 1.5 meters to her last. She can, of course, hit her own one up, but she's gone inside that. She's certainly not going to be
Might
short.
hold up and get the jack.
Well, okay, she might have dislodged it enough to give it to Scott. I'm not sure.
That is the one to the Takaro
To Elmwood.
to Elmwood with that movement of the jack.
Gotta be bad. It must be the whole thing.
Lance Pascoe on his backhand on this, the 4th of 5 ends of this first set. And he's got a good 0.5 metre to draw to the jack. Just going to sit past the Kelvin Scott bowl.
Still one.
Just the one still.
Not a bad track from Noble, but he's going to slip inside his Leeds bowl.
Good touch, mate.
Interesting as well, John, how the jack's been moved right away off that centre line and how everyone's now struggling to try and find, that line, that track to the jack there. And you hear there from Kelvin Scott, he said it looked better from his end. Has it got the weight? No, it hasn't.
But we've seen it before where Pascoe had to draw a shot out here a couple of times, didn't he? And both he and Noble were able to find the green out there.
Jack right through for 3. Try and get it pat. What does that matter if I miss? Yeah, because 7-1's irrelevant.
Yep.
7-1's irrelevant.
Yeah.
And see if I can try and trail the jack a long way.
I'm under 8.
No, I'm saying if they do. 1 wide. Yep. 1.
Another one, that's 8. 8.
So if you're not going to play the power play, just concede the set now, aren't you?
Well, he's conceding the set, I'd say. Or is he? Oh.
Yeah, we just said with it. Oh, we thought the set may have been conceded without putting the power play. It's they're still talking about it. The skips.
Differential doesn't come into the final.
No, it doesn't.
Nah. Oh, well.
If they were using the power play, I could understand it, but
Yeah.
just
You can
confirmed.
concede, but I don't think they have. So.
Just confirmed by Stephen Beale. Yes, you can concede a set at this point, because you're in the knockout phase, not in section play where that becomes differentials and everything else comes into it.
Going to use it for practice.
Well,
Well, I think what I know the tactic here that Takaro Tui, Mark Noble, Sharon, Steve Toms have got together and said, if we play another end, maybe Mandy Boyd will have used all her good bowls up before we start the second set, and we're in with a chance here because she's sort of killing them at the moment.
pretty outstanding end after end, really, John. You know, and there's the
Having
trail of that jack
having
from
said
Steve
that.
Toms. Well played by the Takaro Tui lead. Trail on the jack.
You know, they probably end up getting 5 on this and say, why didn't we use our power play?
You sure we didn't call our power play?
Yeah.
Kelvin Scott looking for the jack too. Looking for the jack, gets the shot bowled, and Jack moves it right out to the side.
Just as well you didn't play your power play, Mark.
Yeah.
Now, this will be interesting. We haven't seen the jack spring out this side. Let's see what that does to the line of these players.
Well, this looks a good line on the way down, John, doesn't it? This bowler, Sharon Sims, looks a good line.
I think she might ask for the centre line to be changed.
Yeah, because that's the jack being moved out a couple of feet off the centre line and draws just in behind it. It's a great bowl from Sharon Sims.
Because Kelvin Scott's eyes just light up, any sort of challenge like this.
Correct.
Okay, she got applause for that. Well, you see what I can do.
And hold all tickets here. Just going to sit outside the bowl, is he? He feathers the bowl and just sits outside it. Sharon Sims, and you watch Sharon Sims, people watching it, every bowl exactly the same, up on the mat, deep breath, thinks.
And you almost see the exhalation of her breath go right through her body.
Yep. And there draws right in behind the jack. And I watched a couple of players yesterday who like to play very quickly off the mat. And I know that suits some players, and that's fine. But, if you look at somebody like Sharon Sims and what she's achieved internationally and nationally, and how you get consistency, and it's by doing the same thing every time, isn't it? And that's exactly what Sharon Sims does.
And it's absolutely fine to play quick off the mat. Some of the Aussies are, some of them are bowling before the previous bowls even stopped, hey?
Yeah.
But that's the way they want to play. They love to play it quick, and sometimes playing quick off the mat gets in the heads of your opponent, the head of your opponent a wee bit, because they feel as though they're being forced to rush. But
it's interesting what we have found in the last couple of trips to Australia pre-COVID for the Trans-Tasman and Asia Pacific. There's no question that the Australians use their quick play to intimidate, and the New Zealand side learnt, and they just deliberately slowed themselves down, because it's just as easy to fall into the trap of, and that's exactly what the Australians have got, that tendency to endeavour to try and get you to do too. And some of their players, like Aaron Sheriff and Corey Wedlock and those players, they're very, very, very quick off the mat. And
who's the other guy, the singles player, the guy who won their singles?
Aaron Wilson.
Aaron Wilson.
Well, he's just lightning. And
yeah, I was doing some, I think it was the World Championships in Christchurch one year, and we had to say to the TV director, you've got to be onto the mat before you
Correct.
No point in taking a shot of where the bowl lands,
because he's ready to go.
The other one's on its way down.
Yeah, he certainly is. He's the quickest going around. That's for sure. And for some players, it is intimidating.
Oh.
To the Takaro Tuis, and that's the completion now of the first set of this final, which has gone the way of the Elmwood Park Saints side. That's on Mandy Boyd leading Kelvin Scott, Lance Pascoe, 8-2 over the Takaro Tuis, Steve Toms, Sharon Sims and Mark Noble. Now, of course, we go into the second set, another 5 ends, and the big job now in front for the Takaro Tui to win this second set, to force into a tie-break, one-end playoff tie-break end, as Mandy Boyd delivers her first bowl on the first end of this, the second set of this final of the National Interclub Bowls3Five here at the Naenae complex in Christchurch. Oh, Wellington we are this week, isn't it?
I think so, yeah. Been a long weekend for Kelvin.
See there, there's definitely a patch there, John, isn't there? You just see the bowl just sort of, it goes for about a metre where it just goes straight. And Mandy Boyd on that, changing, going to the forehand.
Just going to show she can do it either hand.
Well, you know, a player that she's not going to this time, I don't think, needs to be under the Steve Tom's bowl because she gets the feather. No, she doesn't.
So it's an opportunity here for Steve Toms to put one in, put it in close, give his team a bit of momentum at the start of the second set.
Well, as you've said, John, before, you know, the importance of that first end in the second set after you've lost the first set, to give your side the good start, and Steve Tom's going to do exactly that and draws a toucher, just moves the jack outside that inner circle, and Kelvin Scott now on his forehand with the jack being moved slightly out from the middle of the circle. My goodness, this just going to come outside.
See that extra, playing that extra end. It's, oh gosh, good tactic by Tui's.
Yeah,
All good.
was I noticed on that last end with Mark Noble's last bowl, he actually played the other hand where there was no chance, and I just wondered, okay, I'm just going to have a look there. I haven't played any bowls there. Just going to have a look, see where it goes, just to.
Free run now.
Well, Sharon's in trying to get under this bowl of
That was
Steve Tom's bowl. If he misses the bowl entirely, it was literally right to where that close to the counting area or where the jack sits. So Kelvin Scott on that line again, just trying to get to the jack. Just going to go by, but certainly falls in. Very good attempt.
So that has given Sharon somewhere to park her bowl into those two Saints bowls just over the jack. I'll give her another shot. She had a fantastic line last time. A bit wider this time.
It is a bit. It is wider.
Find a hole.
Find a hole, said. So Skip's change over now on this first end of the second set of the final of the National Interclub Bowls3Five finals here at Naenae. 32 teams started here on Friday morning in section play, playing round robin play Friday and Saturday, and then through to the quarterfinals, semi-finals and finals today. It's been a lot of matches played here over the last 3 days, and now down to the big one, the final. It's Pascoe now on the mat on this, the first bowl of the second set of this final.
All good, mate. Wait, right.
So one would presume that Mark Noble he may Well, because that wider bowl, John, he might be able to play out on the other hand. He doesn't want to trail the jack, does he? Doesn't want to touch the jack.
No, I think he'll do what he asked Sharon to.
I'd say just play the same side as Sharon
Yeah.
Sims. Yeah, just sit down through there.
Just looking around the crowd here, Kelvin, I see there's quite a few ex-New Zealand players. Morris Symes sitting up one side and Marlene Castle down here as well. And there's a couple of other faces I recognise just hanging around. Not hanging around, but taking an interest in it and supporting it.
So Mark Noble, as John said, trying to sit on the charcoal bowl and the white speckledy bowl of Kelvin Scott's. Just slipping by, holding one other Takaro Tui's.
And now Pascoe would dearly love to either sit the bowl or tickle the jack back a few centimetres.
Like the track, I heard Kelvin Scott say very early in the piece.
We can't see it because Kelvin's in the road.
I can tell you it's under the head.
Great weight.
So you just have, if Mark Noble takes a bit of weight off this, he can get around that bowl of his leads and settle in on those bowls, or he's going underneath it. Might just do it as well.
He gets through that port past the Sharon Sims bowl. He would not to be.
Yep.
Just the one it was to the Takaro Tui. So they open their account on the second end of this, the first end, sorry, of this, the second set. And of course, you can watch this live action or tell your friends or whatever on the Bowls New Zealand website, and it'll link you straight directly to this final, or www.stuff.co.nz or Sky Sport Extra. All the live action is there. And once again, thanks to our crew here, Tamara, Colin, Erin and Emma, who've worked tirelessly bringing you this live coverage over the last 3 days. And sterling job bringing this live coverage.
Steve Toms agreed with Mark Noble when he said, let's play it long. And he's really misjudged the line of this totally. So Boyd has really been on top of it when she's been playing that middle range. Okay.
I'm going to come under the line outside this circle. So both players are leaving a good metre and a half to the jack on. So Steve Toms, Mark Noble, it just depends how far this is going to run and what it's going to do to that other hand. Immediately we see there Lance Pascoe and indicating to Mandy now she's got to get through these short things and bowls, and she's chasing it. Looks on a decent line. Gets past this front bowl.
Well done, Mandy.
That's a pretty good response.
Well, correction, only 2 bowls. You make a mistake with your first, and it takes a great deal of concentration and ability, of course, to change it around. So that's a outstanding second bowl by Boyd.
And I have to check that Stephen Beale sitting close by to me. So
Pretty close there,
this
buddy.
event is what's the Sharon
Jack.
Sims bowl trying to get the jack.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Well played. So this event is a New Zealand silver. So this is a New Zealand silver title. So it does have a New Zealand title connotation to it, because we've got the gold star, and then we've got the other events that's a silver star, which this event is a silver star event. Kelvin Scott's going to go by, but by goodness, he was certainly hunting down through that Sharon Sims bowl.
Crucially, he stayed on the ring too.
He did down there by that's his bowl. You can see down there just by sitting just outside the number 1. But magnificent bowl from Sharon Sims. with her first to move the jack off the Mandy Boyd bowl, which was only a few centimetres from the jack.
Chance again, Chaz. Two goodies.
Nice again, Shares.
Brilliant.
I heard Mark Noble there indicating that, and well played by Sharon Sims. Two very, very good bowls on this full-length head.
Look at him, you wouldn't know what hand he's playing, but he's playing the backhand. And
you heard him say, I'm out there.
I just give that lead bowl of Takaro a wee nudge.
He will.
That won't be a bad place for that to be either.
Ross Thorne, Morris Symes sitting there. Claire Hendra sitting up there in the crowd. No doubt waiting for that announcement of the New Zealand, the blackjack side of the Commonwealth Games, awaiting that announcement. And Debbie White sitting there as well. Will also be.
I didn't know my wife was here. She was sitting up the back there.
Was it Raylene sitting up there as well?
Yep.
Hello, Raylene.
I thought she was off shopping somewhere.
She might have done that, John. She may have already done that, mate.
Right, so holding two, Takaro Tui.
Big end this, John, actually, in the second set. I know it's only the second end. It's psychologically, it's a big end for the Takaro side.
And they've still, both of them have still got the power plays remaining. Tactics come into it. Oh, gosh.
Oh.
Just, it's a fraction in it, isn't it? Because I think if he was to just move the jack a little bit, there'd be four, because that ball that Kelvin Scott knocked up.
The Tom's bowl.
That one to the right there, bottom right.
How far is this coming back? How far is this coming back? How far is that coming back?
That's superb.
You don't see much better than that, John. We'll see a replay of that bowl, no doubt, as it comes down towards the jack. And when magnificent recovery shot there from Lance Pascoe.
Driving the jack into the ditch, is he?
Well, the jack's a spotted. The jack's the go, isn't it?
Yeah.
No sense in being short. And he'll be endeavouring to get down to the jack, get a touch into the jack. But by goodness, what a great bowl from Lance Pascoe.
Well, get inside this and you're not a mile
I'll tell
away,
you what, he's trying hard here is Mark Noble.
Just pulled up, did it?
Yep.
So we might be able to see that replay of the Lance Pascoe bowl, and we
just not sure. Are they?
Here's the Lance Pascoe bowl. You'll see the replay of that coming down towards the jack now alongside the Sharon Sims blue bowls, and just gets hold of the jack, moves it down towards just out for the number there, and really turned the head around for the Elmwood Park side. On this the second end, and the indication was that it was two shots, but we'll just wait to see what happens after this Lance Pascoe second bowl.
I know whether you're quiet here. Played a monster though, mate.
He certainly did. Played a monster all right to get that. And there's the two shots indicated by Steve Sargent, the marker. So Elmwood Park go to a 2-1 lead now in this second set after winning the first set by 8-2.
And there's a fine line, between that being a great bowl from Pascoe. If he just got the jack slightly off where he did on the edge, it would have moved it across either side to Takaro, and they could have ended up with 3 or 4, So it's a game of line length and luck occasionally, isn't it?
Yeah, and
fortune,
and
you've got to be there.
And the thing I like about Lance Pascoe is that, as Mark Noble's the same, they're confident in playing these shots.
Yes.
And a lot of bowlers just, if they do it, fine and good on them. But these guys play these shots with confidence, and really in their minds, we're a good chance of getting it.
reinforced by the confidence they have in the people at the other end making the calls.
Absolutely, and we've certainly seen that, as you've remarked about it today in the commentary, John. That Kelvin Scott has certainly been a great sort of encourager to Lance Pascoe right throughout, hasn't he? He's really backed him all the way.
Still kicking them the wrong way. What about you?
Well, you're not going to drop very many shots, really, eh, John? If you're in around that in that circle area like that from the two bowls of Mandy Boyd, just gives you a good start for the head.
What do you want? Just draw? You happy here?
So if you looked at Kelvin Scott right now, you'd think he's actually playing the other hand, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Oh, this is on a good line. He's going to get right down to the jack.
Just pick a hand, Shaz. Happy either hand. The front one's a foot, the back one's a 2 foot. You've got that and that.
You heard there's really,
Forward hand.
whichever way you go, a couple of feet to draw the shot, whether it's in front or behind. There's a
Yeah, I think she'll play she played the forehand quite well.
Played it
going
well.
this way last time. Yeah, just a bit overweighted, and well, with the second one, so she's got the line all right. She knows where it is.
Drop under. And one down, well done.
Cut out a couple.
certainly did. One bowl away, really, from getting that just to get past that shot bowl. Seems to be on a slightly wider line. He might. It's coming back towards that centre now. Sit inside the Mandy Boyd bowls and urging it to fall in as
Might only be one.
Lance Pascoe.
He's basically saying to Sharon, righto, you've got to be pinpoint perfect with your weight. If you are slightly over and you tickle the jack, we get three. So
Yeah, so
that's a danger there. But Sharon Sims is so close with that first one.
one bowl away, really, one roll away from getting, a very good result. You're going to go under the head on this, the third end of 5 of this, the second set of this National Interclub Bowls New Zealand Bowls3Five final.
Hey,
And John, this new
Sorry, I was just listening to what they were saying there. Kelvin's just said, no, I agree with you. Go for it.
So this new format, or this new, having it playing this new concept of the Bowls3Five, and if you've been involved in a club yourself out at the Kapiti Coast, it certainly seemed to have gathered a lot of interest right around the clubs around the whole country, isn't it?
And I think from the Kapiti region, I don't think clubs fully appreciated the end result of entering their Bowls3Five.
Right.
And I think you'll see better players team up and say, if we're going to be competitive, in all sorts of regions, maybe you don't want to have what they call stacked teams, but if you want to be competitive, like you wouldn't see Lance Pascoe, for example, playing with two, just average players, a junior, and so, because they want to win this. So I think what we've seen now is that clubs are much more aware of the importance of this, the impact of it, and,
So it's gone-
and the fun of it.
Yeah, so it's gone from being, let's say, well,
It was elitist. wasn't it?
Yeah, so correct. The televised event, and then
Yeah.
when it extended out, one could say it was the business house format, so to
Yeah.
speak, for it. But it's now become onto the whole national calendar, the club calendar.
gosh. Yep.
And, we, as I say, everyone, most of the centres have been here, and I think this concept's great and will only grow. And having the indoor complex like we've got here, of course, just makes it,
Yeah, absolutely stunning. And I think we'll see more clubs use Bowls3Five as a format more often too. I think that, they realise that it is short and sharp, and, as a club we're looking at our winter program because we've got 2 artificial greens like this.
Yes.
And we're saying, well, we don't want our greens empty all winter, particularly when the weather is reasonable. So Bowls3Five format, Sunday afternoon or whatever it might be.
Correct. That's
Quick and sharp, mix it around, have a bit of fun, and then, of course, the bar's always open.
Well, it does cater for the. it caters for everything, doesn't it?
Yep.
You can split the bowls, you've done well.
It's interesting. We're doing the Rangatahi, the secondary school bowls, later on in the year.
Yep.
And that's been played as a Bowls3Five format for the secondary school championships.
So the Saints still holding 2 down there. Oh, still holding 2? Were they holding 2? Oh, yes, was that
It
Pascoe
was
bowl?
2 with the Lance Pascoe bowl. And that's certainly out on that wider track.
Pascoe.
Oh, that's what he called for. Look, they looked at it and said, what can Mark Noble do here? And
And the trail through there is...
I'm not up now. Good.
Put a tape on that last one, there's not much enough. Take those 2 up.
So there's 2 out in narrow measure.
so someone's going to play their power play now.
Correct. Absolutely,
Yeah.
John. Absolutely. So now going to the Sharon Sims bowl, taking 2 shots out. Was 3. 2 big ends, John. Power play must come now.
Power play, guys.
They just called it.
Power play.
Hey,
Power play, mate.
Yeah,
start
Mark
playing,
Noble.
start playing.
Yeah, mate.
Mark.
Both playing the power play?
No.
Just Mark Noble. We've got it this time, John.
Yeah.
Sorry, mate.
Mandy Boyd, 5-1 now as we play Ian 4 of the second set. Of course, Elmwood winning the first set, 8 shots to 2. And the Takaro Tui side taking their power play option on this end. And Mandy Boyd is pretty relentless, isn't it?
Brilliant.
It's disheartening, really, isn't it, for the opposition? Mind you, Steve's up to it. Here we are in there.
Well, if I was fortunate enough to be a New Zealand selector, by goodness, I'd be making her Mandy Boyd's presence back in the international scene, John, would certainly, in my view, would be applauded.
Yeah.
But she's got the right reasons, family and a business, and
she's got a burgeoning business, hasn't she, with her
the artist.
art ability?
Yes,
Gosh.
yeah. She has. And again, here it is again, John.
Brilliant.
Got to be that hand, mate.
2 touches. That's the
Yeah, that's
second
what you
time
thought
in this
from me,
game
right?
that I've seen Mandy Boyd draw 2 touches like that, and that's you're on top of your game, aren't you?
Steve's changed his hand. He'll probably get down here, sit in amongst those 2 shots, and he'll be saying, why wasn't I playing that hand all the time? Oh,
Looking
look
for
at
that
this.
jack. A great response here from Steve Toms. Well, although been unfortunate not getting the trail of the jack, just moved the bowls around, so it does open things up for the draw for Sharon Sims and Mark Noble. But and again, Mandy Boyd, magnificent start for the Elmwood Park Saints. Jack level is Mandy Boyd. It's just Kelvin Scott, sorry. So Sharon Sims certainly wants to draw the shot here. She'll be doing up the utmost to. Mark Noble likes this bowl as it breaks towards the head. This bowler Sharon Sims. This is very close. This bowler Sims. And touch up. Well played. Former international player.
She's keeping them in it now. I mean, they have to score here. They want to score at least a 2 to go up to 5 all.
Absolutely.
Preferably go ahead because they know that Saints will play the power play.
Next
on the
end will be, maybe the next end, the 15th, sorry.
Yeah.
John's seeing how the lay of the land is after the completion of 4 ends.
Taken no green at all, really.
Draw to the tee, mate.
Draw of a 2. Interesting, yeah. So this is Noble thinking ahead, as we see with the top skips. Just wants it up there to the 2 now. So he can't get a big number out of the situation at the moment.
So he's holding what is 2 shots at present and put in some protection at the back.
Or thinking of what he might play later.
Absolutely. Looking for that jack trail through the port. There, John, he can see it from his end. Mark Noble just looking on the monitor, that jack trail through the port there where the 2 Steve Toms bowls are. And
Pascoe will cover that.
Yeah, and the second bowl is Sharon Sims, which has gone to the deepest bowl on the rink.
Well, Lance Pascoe has played some really good bowls all through this 3 weeks.
Been very impressive.
I think it was going to be Gary Lawson playing, wasn't it, on this team initially?
Correct.
Yeah.
But Lance Pascoe certainly, he's once again confirmed that he's certainly up there as one of the leading players. So a bit of psychology you would have just heard there, John.
Well, another thing about it is that nothing's a secret. You're talking and the opposition are listening. It's not as if you can go away in a wee huddle and say, we're going to play this shot.
No, you can't. Yeah, interesting. But as you said, there is that shot chance for Mark Noble. So Yeah, he's backing himself, I think, there, John. I'm going to play this with I'm going to play that shot to the triangle with my last bowl and try and score 6.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, a big shot to
yeah.
play. But you'd have thought he would have played, because you can see that triangle. There's the 2 bowls of Mandy Boyd's, and then there's the 2 bowls of Steve Times there. There's the 2 Winey bowls and the brown bowl out to the side.
You're confident to draw it there, you draw it. What do you reckon, Andy? Here, what do you reckon? Yeah. Do you think you should try and draw it, or do you think you should drop the cover?
I think Mandy's been so confident in the other two making the decision, she hasn't been taking too much notice.
I think the first time she's been
hauled in. Yeah. What do you think? Key point of this game. This could be the winning of it for the Saints, or do the Tuis get up and stay alive?
So, and of course, if Lance Pascoe does get a trade on the jack, it can also then negate the effectiveness then of the Mark Noble option.
Yep, just trying to draw, they said.
Draw to the Sharon Sims bowl. That's what Pascoe's endeavouring to do.
Just drifted, didn't it? Fair effort, mate.
Well, Mark Noble might like that, 'cause it just tightens that line up down to the jack. You just got to, his weight's the big thing, isn't it?
Well, he can't afford it like that. He's taking a gamble here. Yeah. If he drops it, sure. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
We're going.
So a lot of deliberation going on as Mark Noble making his way back to the mat. They've certainly had a good look at the head and what the options might be. Remembering, of course, this is the power play. This is the power play for the Takaro Tuis. So do they get one or go for the opportunity of a shot for more? Noble's still looking at his options. He certainly had a good look at the head, John, to know.
Well, I don't know how many times we've said today this is a pressure bowl or a crunch bowl for Mark Noble, and he's pulled them off every time.
He certainly has, and this has got weight.
Okay. We heard Kelvin Scott say he's taking a gamble with this shot. Oh, he took the gamble.
The spot.
Yep.
One. Oh, one to the Tui. They only got one. They were holding one anyway. But it's not enough for them. That takes them to 3. Now they've got 2. Yeah, yeah. Using it on the last, the power play for.
As we predicted, Avery. Yeah, so we're now in the situation, of course, with it being 5-3 to Elmwood Park. Remembering they winning the first winning the first set. So it means that even if they are to score 2 shots on this end of the Takaro Tui, that would still see Elmwood Park go through, because that would give them a win in the first set and a draw. So to go to the extra end or the shootout, Takaro Tui, of course, got to score a 3 to head off the Elmwood Park to go to that tie-break end. And as you heard, the Elmwood Park have called their tie-break, their power play, on this, the 15th of this, as we wind down to the conclusion of this National Interclub Bowls3Five final. Certainly been fantastic 3 days here at Naenae. And great host here at Naenae, and great, real good complex, and an asset for, it's asset for, of course, for Wellington, but it's an asset for the whole country. This fantastic indoor-outdoor facility here at Naenae. Oh, I haven't seen that happen very often at all, where Mandy Boyd was sort of narrow and stuck to the head. But she has got another bowl.
If ever Steve Toms needed to step up to the mark, this is it. Putting a bit of pressure onto Kelvin Scott. If he can. It looks wide from him down that hand. He's just... consistency has just eluded him as the weekend's gone on. He's played some really good bowls, I must say, Steve Toms, and but just when you're up against someone like Mandy Boyd, and as a lead, you're hoping to get it within a metre most of the time if you can. That's a good bowl for a lead, and he's just failed to do that often enough against Boyd.
And there, Boyd drawing the shot. Wow, is it the shot? It is the shot, just indicated by Steve Sargent. That shot of Mandy Boyd's is the shot. And of course the Takaro Tui side endeavouring to score a 3 on this end to take us to the tie break. And it's how you build the hit up early, isn't it really, John, to give yourself that chance of that number?
Hey? You want me here? Oh, maybe I will play here. Or you happy here?
There's an easy explanation, isn't it? So Kelvin Scott, who's certainly been Mr. Steady.
Get down. Come about then.
Not this time, no. It's not far away, of course, but...
So, interesting, it's just pointed out to me then from the Tamara here, this is the first time that they've used that shortest, that real short.
Yeah, it is too.
The short end, the shortest of the 3 circles.
So Mark Noble previously called the longest, going the other way when they last won an end, and then now he's called the shortest. Oh, gosh.
Yeah, I think we'll see playing across the head to the bowl, where it's an open opportunity to get to the head from Kelvin Scott, not to get tangled up on the short of below the head bowl of Sharon Sims. Needs to start working back now or get on the Mandy Boyd bowl. Doesn't really finish up doing a lot.
Not an encouraging situation for Mark Noble.
Well,
he still, if he plays narrow, I suppose, across the head a wee bit and sits on that shot.
What I was wondering,
too many of them there, eh?
What I was wondering, John, whether he might try and play that trail over.
Yep.
There's a Sharon Sims bowl there, which is the shot, playing with the 2 Steve Toms bowls, and behind there to get your trail around there through there. It could beat 3 shots and just.
His big windy ball, yeah.
But that's that. As was just pointed out, with the arc that he gets in his bowl, and endeavouring to go to that forehand option. No, he's trying to get rid of the Mandy Boyd bowl.
Ooh, gee.
So what would that count look like, John, if they was to dislodge that Mandy Boyd bowl? Would that be a 3?
I don't think so. Well, there might be a couple. Draw's no good to them. See, while the Elmwood Saints are in the box seat here, they won the first 8-2, they're up 5-3 playing the last. They're in a good position. They don't want to go to a tiebreaker. So
certainly
they're
don't.
Covering everything.
Certainly don't. And it would appear from what was said that you're right, that the movement of that bowl, if that was to happen, doesn't give them the 3, well, they need 4 actually, to they neither 3, and the indication is it would only be 2. That was the way what it looked like from the body language. So see what Lance Pascoe does here in this final end.
Good Pascoe. Good. Happy at that. Very good.
That certainly indicates John
Is it?
that 3-shot option may not be there. He certainly, Mark Noble's having a good look.
He'll take some time over this.
Boy, you're happy that it's out.
I'll have a look when I get there, mate.
So Mark Noble just going to have a look to see what options may exist for him.
Oh, back all the way up here.
And look, once again, I must thank our crew here, Tamara, Colin, Erin and Emma, along with the other Bowls New Zealand staff who have worked tirelessly over this last 3 days, doing a variety of things to bring this first time of our Bowls3Five Interclub finals here. And it's been a big working contingent here. Done an absolutely sterling job, the team from Bowls New Zealand, as we now wait for Mark Noble to come to the mat, trailing 5-3, losing the first set 8-2, trying to get to a position, must win this end, must score 3. Here's Noble now playing, trying to get down to get some to get the Mandy Boyd bowl, going to get underneath. In fact, gets the Kelvin Scott bowl, turns the Mandy Boyd bowl over. It's all over, and there's your winners of the National Interclub Bowls3Five finals. Come to a conclusion, the Elmwood Park side of Christchurch, that's the team of Mandy Boyd, Kelvin Scott and Lance Pascoe. They have defeated the Takaro Tui side of Steve Toms, Sharon Sims and Mark Noble by 2-0. Earlier on, of course, in the semi-finals, we saw the Takaro Tui. They defeated the Gore Rams and the Elmwood Park Saints. They defeated the Stokes Valley Vipers. Magnificent event here we've had at Naenae. And I know the presentation is about to take place in but a moment, and John Macbeth will speak to the winners. He's just ducked away for a second, but he'll be back here in a moment. Will John Macbeth and have a chat with the victorious Elmwood Park side. Nice crowd in here this afternoon watching this live final here at Naenae. The joys of having an indoor complex. Our thanks, of course, to Sky Sport Next, www.stuff.co.nz, and here comes Mr. Macbeth back right now, and John's now going to interview the victorious side, and we'll wind down for this event. John's going to interview one of the Elmwood Park players, and he's just going out on the rink now to get someone to interview the winners of this final of our inaugural Bowls New Zealand National Interclub Bowls3Five finals here at Naenae in Wellington. And John Macbeth is ready. We'll cross to John Macbeth, who's got Lance Pascoe and Mark Noble with him. They should be ready. So I'll hand you over to John Macbeth, who has got Lance Pascoe with him, the victorious Elmwood Park skip. So here's John Macbeth.
Right, here we go. We've got the champion team, and there's no doubt about it. You probably played more consistently than others, and yet right throughout it, Lance, you had some tough games, didn't you?
Yeah, I think the team was definitely consistent all the way through. It's just the format, it doesn't allow you to dominate. So, I mean, there was a couple of games there where we felt like we dominated and, so close to going to a tie-break, so you can never take it too easy. You just got to concentrate in that second set, and it's tough.
I think you'd be open in saying that it's pretty much a leads game, isn't it? If your lead is there, then you start to dominate.
Oh, for sure. It's the front two set it up. Mandy played well, allowed Kelvin to follow and play really well too. So, and then I just chipped in.
Mandy, come on up, because that, we've been saying throughout it, you've played for New Zealand, the way you were so consistent there, the selectors will be saying, let's get down their hands and knees and beg you. That you were playing so consistently today, and yet others were finding this rink to be a bit awkward. You didn't seem to do that.
I did find it a wee bit tricky. We played that semi-final and I was a wee bit all over the place with the tracks and things, but we had a good talk at lunchtime and sort of sorted it out and got on a good roll. So
what was the key to it though? It hung on some sides and
well, I think once you start questioning yourself, then you become all over the place. So I just we decided that I'd take a bit of a tighter line and I started going a bit more at the jack instead of round to it. So worked out.
It's a matter of thinking, isn't it, Kelvin? Eh? Getting it right. Come on up here, mate. You stand on that spot, and throughout it we could hear you, and fortunately it didn't catch every word you said. But your direction, your teamwork with Lance is so important. A two plays a big role.
Yeah, we played a lot together, and we've got a pretty good understanding. And Lance is a sensational player, and the way Mandy played today, man, she was good, wasn't she?
Yeah.
In the final. Yeah. Man, nobody got near her, so it was pretty easy after that, to be fair. But Lance still played some big bowls as well, so.
And you push so much pressure on the Takaro Tui, eh? They're not a bad combination.
They didn't make the final if they're not a good combination. Right. So, and we knew that we had to play well to beat them, and fortunately we played well enough to win. So
brilliant. Well done, mate. Thank you very much, guys. And congratulations to the Elmwood Park Saints on winning the championship this year.
So here we are now at the conclusion of the National Interclub Bowls3Five finals here at Naenae. And once again, our winners have been the Canterbury side, the Elmwood Park Saints side of Mandy, Boyd, Kelvin, Scott and Lance Pascoe. They've defeated the Takaro Tui side of Steve Tom, Sharon Sims and Mark Noble. My thanks to all the crew here at Bowls New Zealand who have done a wonderful job over the last 3 days bringing you this coverage. Thank you to all those people that have helped out in the commentary box. Thank you to John Macbeth, who's been without me right throughout the whole day of this finals day. And we'll leave you now. The presentation's about to take place, and of course we'll be back with a lot more bowls on the calendar throughout the year. So this is Kevin Hickman leaving now the Bowls3Five finals from the Naenae Bowling Club in Wellington.
Hi everyone. My name is Chris Lander, and with me are Martin McKenzie and our President Anne Wright, and they're going to help you, or help us, present the awards to our champions and to our medalists from this National Interclub Bowls3Five tournament. Before we get to those awards though, there's one special award we do wish to present today, and it's very overdue in terms of its timing. Last year was difficult for a lot of reasons. COVID-19 had a lot to answer for, and our annual awards were messed up by that. And the last one that we have still got to present from October or something of 2021, we're able to do today because we're on our home patch, and that's our 2021 Umpire of the Year. Dale, your commitment to our sport is just fantastic, and we greatly appreciate everything that you do for our game, as does everyone else in the room. Would you please give Dale Jackson a very big hand as she comes forward to receive that award. Please watch her step walking down onto the green. Dale's known she had this award for some time, but obviously with Auckland being locked up for the better part of last year, it's been very difficult to get to her to present this thing. So Dale, on behalf of everyone in Bowls, thank you for your contribution. We really appreciate it. Just get that photo. And Dale, We've got a photographer in there camouflaged by the black backdrop. Thank you. Thanks, guys. To this event now, it's been a fantastic 3 days here at Naenae, and we really want to thank the bowling club and the staff of it for their support throughout, not only the 3 days, but also the lead up to this event. The nothing is a problem attitude that this place shows is really, really well received by everyone that comes here, including us, and I'm sure by the players as well. So thank you to Barry Morrison and his team for allowing us to be here and putting on such a great facility for us. To our umpires, Sue Way and David Burridge over the last couple of days, and today Steve Sargent and Michael Johnson, your contribution has made sure that the thing has flowed very smoothly, and we appreciate your dedication to it. To our principal sponsor, Somerset Retirement Villages, our apparel sponsor, Dynasty Clothing, who we were very pleased to be able to deliver some product from eventually, after some promises that we kept having to extend, but it's great to see a lot of the teams wearing their kit and looking resplendent in that Dynasty gear. And Aotearoa Gaming Trust, who are very supportive of this event in particular, assisted us greatly in getting a lot of the teams here. We very much appreciate their support and ongoing support of our game. To all 96 players from 32 clubs and all of their supporters that have been here, thank you for making the effort to be here. We've enjoyed having you here, we hope you've enjoyed being here, and I think everyone's going to go home with some pretty decent memories and hopefully get there safely. I'd like now to ask our bronze medalists to come forward to receive their medals from Anne. Firstly, the Gore Rams, Sheldon Baggery Howley, Claire Hendra and Craig Merrilees. Would you please come forward and receive your bronze medals? And if you could just wait out here while we present the others so we can get a photo of all 12 of you once the trophy has been presented, that would be great. And while we're collecting those, Seamus, would you bring Finbar and Nicole Toomey, Finbar McGuigan and Nicole Toomey to the front, please, for your bronze medals. Both of these teams going through qualifying and a quarter-final without dropping a game, so very high-quality bowls being played by all 6 of them. And a credit to all of you, and thank you for your contribution in making sure that all of our spectators really enjoyed the experience. Our silver medalists, who fought very, very hard over 2.5 days and put on a really good show in that final. In the end, someone has to come second, and today it was the Takaro Tui, Mark Noble, Sharon Sims and Stephen Toms. Would you please come out and accept the applause of the crowd and your silver medals from Anne? Some unbelievable bowls played by all of these guys and girls over the last few days, but in particular a couple that I saw today were very special, Mark Noble in particular featuring, but I'm sure everyone else can remember a couple that were delivered by others. Congratulations on your performance. Stay that side, Stephen. We'll get you on the outside of the winners. And to our champions, Elmwood Park Saints, you guys and girls are making a real name for yourselves in this format of the game. Fantastic again today. Lance, Pascoe, would you please bring Kelvin Scott and Mandy Boyd to the front to receive your medals, your winners' caps, and of course the trophy from Anne. These guys have played some amazing bowls over the last 3 days, and when we got here we weren't even sure what the makeup of the team was going to be. There was a bit of an and an around Lance's condition with his back, but mate, you fronted up really well, and we'd just like to congratulate the 3 of you and everyone else that's been here supporting Elmwood Park Saints for what has been a sensational 10 games of bowls. Well done.
Firstly, I'd like to thank Naenae. You know, I thought that the green played reasonably well the whole tournament we played. There was a line there on every rink, and you know, you hear a bit of talk around the thing, but around the tracks, but I think the green was fair. To everyone we played, thank you very much. To the Naenae Club, well done. Bowls New Zealand, and hard luck to the Takaro Tui. You played, you know, you had to play well to get to the final, and we acknowledged that before we went out, that you'd be tough competitors. Thank you very much. Cheers.
Thanks, Lance. Now, if we can just take the advantage of having you all out here, Mandy, could you just place the trophy on the table there, and we'll get a wide shot of all of you with Anne in shot. You might need a bit of direction from Barry to scrunch up a wee bit just to get that shot, but it's a beauty for us and a great one for our sponsors.
Can the bronze people come in underneath? I can't get that wide. So here.
Bronze people in underneath the others, yep.
On the knees.
Yeah, I'll move the table. Thanks, Barry. Thank you all. Very well played all.